We're joined this week by Jackson and Amanda Drost, and appropriately so, this couple is spread out across the country as they figure out how all these puzzle pieces go into their complicated life. Both of you, thank you so much for getting us in here.
Hey,
Thanks
thanks for having us.
All right, Jackson, you're on the road right now, doing one of your other gigs out in Colorado, which explains this incredible backdrop you have behind you. One thing that I thought you two would be very good at explaining to folks is how, frankly, you've diversified your life beyond just your Iowa farm. Jackson, maybe start with you. How do you keep all of this going?
Boy, that's a good question. I started with what I'm kind of, like I said, I'm on the road now, back right out of college in '05, and it was a way to have supplemental income with the farm as the farm grew. And the farm, it's growing enough to where I don't travel near like I used to, but this has given me a lot of opportunities to see other stuff and even to tell the farming story. And everybody has their own theory on farming. Do they get to hear it firsthand? And where I'm at now, I've got we've talked a lot of farming with people, questions. They don't know, what it is. What do we do? You get the videos out, you show them, that. And even it's something where I'm at now, how many people have seen the video that People's Company made on Farmer of the Year. And it's a heck of a way to tell the story and to help everything tie together. I also told somebody yesterday that where I'm at now, I got a crew of guys managing them, and it gives me a different way of also seeing how to work with people besides the close. It gives me a different way of seeing how people can work, and that comes back to the farm also.
So, and we should say you're doing some work for a lighting company, which is why you're out west here. How do you piece that in then? So this is largely during your off season that you're trying to do all this?
Yes. And I only do a couple projects for them anymore. Like I said, it used to be back in, 2005, 6, 7, it was a lot. And that was, like I said, as the farm grew, I've cut way back on that. And they allow me to. The one big thing is my 9-year-old son can come along on, and I think this, mainly I do like 3 projects a year for him. There's one in August in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. My 9-year-old has got to come on past 2 years. And if it wouldn't be for that and letting him have that experience and see that experience, it'd be a lot less.
And that's Little League World Series there, right?
Well, the MLB Sunday night game.
Yeah. Yeah, and, as they do theirs in front of the kids. That's a cool experience.
Do that in front of the kids. And he actually not this past year, the year before, he actually got to sit down he was wearing his T-ball jersey. It was the Drost Farms T-ball team. And George Bush was there, and he got to sit down in the stadium with Bush, and they talked about Drost Farms and where it's located and all. And they sat down together, and it was funny. He was 7 at the time. We got done. We're walking away, and he goes, "Dad, who was
that?" But just a former president happening by. No big deal.
And he talked to my son like you and I are talking right now.
That's a memory there. Amanda, as I'm looking at your husband, I see your branding work right on the left side of his sweatshirt. And that's yet one more piece of what you bring into this whole life of yours, that marketing is your strength, your background, your other gig. How do you piece all this stuff together and make it all work?
Well, yes, my career background is marketing. So I work at a local hospital in South Central Iowa with public relations and marketing. And of course, go to work every day. And then, when I'm done for work for the day, then it's like, what can I do to help on the farm? So it's just life gets crazy sometimes, especially, in the fall of the year when we have harvest. It's, work, field, sleep, work, field, sleep, work, field, sleep, like on a rotation for 7.5 weeks. but we want to trade it for the world. So it's kind of fun using my marketing skills on the farm. So we've done anything from like t-shirts to stocking hats to socks, just making our material for the farm. Just we give it to people who we do farm business with or friends and family, and it just tells our story. So it's kind of like a conversation piece. So if Jackson's out, somewhere working or just somewhere locally, and they see the logo, and it's a more of a conversation piece, like Drost Farms, where is that? And you can kind of tell your story. So it's just a fun to use both, my skills at work and then on the farm as well.
When I met you both at the Land Expo in January in Des Moines, it seemed like one of the big themes from you is what we're seeing right before us today, this diversification. You do it in its essentially every aspect of your life, where you all both work outside the farm, but on the farm as well, you're doing a variety of crops, which seems to be, not everybody can do that, not everybody wants to do that. But as we look at different parts across our country, that's what folks are doing for a variety of reasons. Can you explain a little bit how you've done that and how you've expanded that over the years?
So we were corn, soybeans, basically 2/3 corn, 1/3 soybeans. Got different rotations. Depends on the soil, depends on the ground, the rotation. Alfalfa hay, and then we got a cow-calf operation, mainly black Angus, but we got a few red Angus. That's more because of Amanda insists we're keeping the red, which is all right. That's good. And then we've really added the past few years the cover crop aspect for, there's multiple reasons for that. And we've just, I always like to use the term, you have to change your ways as life goes on based off technology. I mean, God gives us technology. It's how we use it. My grandpa's farmed, they farmed a great way, but is that technology and the way they did it, is that how we farm today? No. If we could farm the way they did, would we still be farming? Probably not. I mean, I'd be on the, I'd probably be full-time working in town, farming at night, but that's just the way, the way we've changed. And, sustainability. I mean, we have to make it sustainable for years to come.
The U.S. Agriculture Secretary, Tom Vilsack, had a speech the past week in Salt Lake where he was talking about this country has to better support the smaller and mid-size family farmers. The corporate farms have such inherent advantages, and we're seeing so many folks by necessity leave the industry. What would you say are the hardest challenges that you all have to deal with year to year?
Hardest challenges, I'd really say just the past couple of years, the changes of interest rates. I mean, that puts a huge change on when you're talking operating money. I mean, it's, interest rates have basically doubled. I know my dad always refers to the 80s. I remember the 80s. I was born in 83. So, I don't have that, I don't know the challenge the way he had the challenge. But, when you're talking operating interest rates doubling, that adds a lot to our bottom, our making a profit or not making a profit.
And there's almost no way to make that up, right? That's just too much of a difference.
Right. I mean, it's huge. I mean, you even look at the day-to-day difference, just of an interest rate. And even when it goes to commodity prices, I like to look at it. Yeah, corn and soybeans, they've changed a lot. The price in the past year, well, when you got that grain there and you're looking at marketing it, you got to consider that double in interest rate. That's, working, the other way too.
Amanda, when you both talk, you're so matter of fact about the fact that as we're talking right now, Amanda, you're at your other gig. Jackson's on the road at his other gig. You're so matter of fact about this. How can you explain your psyche? Like how how have you just embraced this is life? Because this is not a simple life what you're doing.
No, I think farming is a lifestyle. I think people who have not grown up on a farm, or they're not connected to a farm, it's like, okay, that person's a farmer. It's a career, like, I have a career or someone else has a career, but really it's a 24/7 occupation, and it's just a way of life. So just like instance for me, like if I go to work every day, I'm just like in the zone at work. But then once I leave here, it's like you're a different mindset. You're back home, you're back on the farm and in the harvest. Like I leave work, and then if Jackson needs help during harvest, I can run a grain cart, or bring meals out to the field, or whatever needs done. I'm there to support and help. So it's just and we wouldn't trade it for the world at all. Sometimes it gets really busy, and there's just a lot of irons in the fire, but we make it work and just get it done what needs to be done. So yeah, it's just even having our kids growing up on the farm, it's just rewarding. I mean, sometimes people have, oh, we did family movie nights this weekend, or we did board games with our family. But for us, it's like, if we're working together as a family, even bringing the 3-year-old along and our 9-year-old, just doing work on the farm, that's kind of like our family time together, and it's the best thing in the world. So I wouldn't trade it at all.
Jackson mentioned on the business side of things the challenge of these inflated interest rates that we've been dealing with the last couple of years. From the business side of things, what do you feel like is the biggest challenge for a family farm operation like you all have?
I would say from like the business side of things, a challenge is, when you're talking about small family farms and mid-sized farms. I grew up on a dairy farm myself in Northeast Iowa, and I was the 4th generation on that farm. And my parents got out of dairy cows probably 6 years ago, and my dad still does a little row crop, but it's a very small family farm. And I can't tell the statistics, but in Wisconsin and Iowa in the past 10 years, how many farms have closed or they're no longer farming. I think that's like the trend everywhere, for family farms or mid-sized and small farms. And I think, like Jackson kind of mentioned before, you have to be willing to change. He mentioned, if he farmed the same way his grandpa did, he probably wouldn't be farming. So I think, a biggest challenge is having people with that mindset, young farmers willing to change, willing to innovate their farm, willing to just come up with new practices and solutions to make that farm successful. And if you're not willing to make those changes, just kind of doing things like we've always been, then I think you're not going to be successful in that.
You two grew up in different parts of Iowa. How'd you meet?
Dumb luck.
Jackson's always say dumb luck. We actually we met on the internet before it was, I was gonna say, before it was cool or creepy.
The funny thing is, she went to Central College. I went to William Penn, which we didn't
Not
know
too
each
far
other.
away.
So we were, she was back up in Elkader, and I was already graduated when she was at Penn. But I actually, or when she was at Central, but I actually knew some people at Central that she was friends with also. So kind of a small world. So one thing too, and I was thinking of this when she was talking on the difficulties. And a few years ago, I was at a meeting deal with a company, a rather big company, and they were saying in the next 10 to 20 years, they set a number of how many farms or farmers would be left in our county. And I told myself right then that I was going to do anything and everything I possibly could to be one of them. And, if we don't, the relationships, I like to, I said this, at Land Expo, Matthew 7:12, do as to others as you want to do to, as you want done to you. And I like to look at that, whether it's, people we rent ground farm, people we custom farm with. I like to think as if I was them, how would I want to be communicated to? How would I want to be treated? And that's how I'm, hoping to make myself, be seen, be known, us be seen, be known, to be diversified in order to keep this going, because I want to make sure I am one of them farmers that's still around 10 to 20 years from now. I want it to be there for my sons if they choose to farm.
And I think that's key right there is our boys. Just even the 3-year-old and the 9-year-old has like a passion for farming and and it's kind of like a driver. Like you want to make the farm successful, yes, but like, you want to have it for your boys if they choose to farm when they grow up.
You mentioned cover crops, and I know that sustainability is important to you, and you're a multi-generational farmland there. How do you do the day-to-day kind of planning that out? That's a lot to try to figure out. So how do you commit to sustainability, and how do you know what the heck to do?
Well, I will say to anybody that's never done cover crops that's looking into it, you don't go 100% your first year. Start small and have somebody talk with you, help with you. Because if a person goes 100% from day one and something goes bad or something goes wrong or they can't manage it, they're not going to do it again. I mean, it's going to be, and their word of mouth about their experience. I mean, word of mouth is PR, and that's going to keep somebody else from doing it. I mean, you start small, and also, like I said, I'm in Colorado now. I talk daily with my dad and my uncle and Cole, Cole Poe, an individual that works for us. I'm here, but yet I'm still on the farm. But like right now, what I like to do in my downtime is I'm creating work plans. I got Excel spreadsheets that we have come spring and the sprayer, every tractor. This is the plan of what's got to get done from cover crop termination to that. And I found that management ahead and that planning, it relieves the headache or the migraine when go time happens. My Uncle Dick, I always laugh. You see a planter going, oh, the neighbors were going, we got to go, and he's like, no, this is not fit. It's not the time. We are planning out. You have a plan. We're going to stick with that plan. And, it's all about planning. I make Excel spreadsheets all the time on just to have a checklist of, every field's listed. This field's got rye on it. This field's got oats on it. What's the next step come spring? I mean, it's you got to manage it to make it work.
Excel spreadsheets, that might be the key here. The key to living, key to surviving.
Sure there's programs, but that's what I use. and if I can create, like when I'm here, when I got some downtime, I'm going to have everything ready to, print out to where, everybody knows the plan coming in. Percentage wise of our acres that got cover crops this year, I want to say about 2/3 between rye or oats. And, between getting all the acres covered and, the termination and the next step, you got to be ready for it.
Jackson and Amanda, we appreciate the time. Thank you much and best wishes ahead.
Hey,
Thank
you,
you,
Dave.
for having
Have
us.
a blessed day.